biggest question I have for you, Jen, because I know some of these things we just don't know about. I'm just raising them as questions that need to be asked. But I saw that some media outlets are saying that state officials say he might not have realized the highway had been closed. Have you been able to get any confirmation on that?
You know, I just talked to the Department of Public Safety. That's one of the investigating agencies on this, who just said right now that is not what they are putting out there. Earlier in a press conference with the governor, with other state officials, it was said that this will be investigated as a criminal matter. And again, obviously he's been arrested and looking at assault. But right now we're not hearing anything from any specific state official that is being reported that's saying that he might not have known what he was doing. Of course, that's something that they'd be looking into, as you would with any investigation. And
I'm just trying to ask enough questions because your immediately thought is, oh my God, this guy barreled into a peaceful crowd of 6,000 people, horrifying, worst thing ever, wrecked a beautiful day of protest. But I'm just not sure what they're looking at.
Well, I don't know if we talked about this, but the Department of Public Safety earlier had said, Commissioner Harrington said, from the footage that they were seeing on MnDOT cameras, it appeared the semi was on 35W as authorities were closing the road. So it didn't appear that he drove through any barricades.
Right, so it had already been on there, and so that's what's.
Oh no! So they closed the road, and he was already on it, and they didn't know he was on it.
I'm just saying what this is what Commissioner Harrington said. He said, according to the footage that they saw on the MnDOT cameras, it appears the semi was on 35W as the authorities were closing down the road. So it does not appear at this point that the truck driver drove through any barricades.
Did that just come out from?
No, that was in the press conference earlier, Frank. But it was hard to interpret or hear at that point on what point that person was on the road, whether it was after a barricade or whatnot, or if there would have been a barricade in their way after being on the interstate. But the way Amelia is reading it now, it does sound like this person may have already been on there.
Right,
as it drove into this area.
And you know, that would be odd in itself. It would be odd that MnDOT wouldn't know that a lone truck was out there because they have cameras, you know, everywhere, especially in the metro area if he's on 35. So why wouldn't they say, oh my goodness, we closed it and there's someone already on it. By the way, he's heading towards 6,000 people.
We know resources are thin. They're stretched thin at this point. We also know that this was moving fast. So potentially that happened.
It was supposed to be 8 o'clock and then they moved it to 5 o'clock.
Yeah, and potentially they may not have been able to see that or get to it in time, even if they did see it. So many unknowns at this point, but definitely know that this was a very fast-moving, fluid situation, even as they closed those interstates, moving up to 5 o'clock, only putting the information out on Twitter, I think 15 to 20 minutes before that. That's when we finally saw it and alerted people.
Right. Well, we were confused at whatever was going to happen at 5 or 8 ourselves, and we're supposed to know all this stuff. I wonder if we can all be quiet and roll that video again and let people just listen and hear it for themselves. I'll wait for the control room to tell me when that time is, but I just think that's important to share with our viewers.
They have it ready now.
Stop! We need to stop that. Stop! Stop! Hey, please stop! You didn't mean to. Hey! Stop! Stop! We have to stop. Cannot hurt him. It defeats our purpose. Stop! Stop!
Well, I guess
Clearly, they're saying, stop, it's a peaceful protest, do not hurt him.
Yeah, and I guess
And
we
you could
could
hear
talk
the
about
brake
the fact
screech,
that, yeah.
the horn beeping.
And-
He was,
Jeff, you have some breaking news and information on
No, Jen
something?
did.
Yeah, we just heard, as we're watching this, now we're learning about another development about former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. He has been released from the Hennepin County Jail, of course. This is the officer that was seen in the video that has been now seen around the world that had his knee on George Floyd's neck. This is what started all of this week. We have learned that Derek Chauvin has been released from the Hennepin County Jail. It was just earlier tonight, and those are the latest details. But of course, he was booked in originally to the Ramsey County Jail, transferred to Hennepin County, and he is now out of the Hennepin County Jail. We know that so many protesters have been calling for no bail. We don't know exactly what changed here, but we do know that he is now out of the Hennepin County Jail. Frank and Amelia.